markets, covering world news, and talking through setups in real time. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next session.
Still doom scrolling? Brain rot taking over? You'll focus tomorrow, right? But what if tomorrow never comes? What if it all started with one small choice? The world won't wait for you. Opportunity is moving right now. One decision is all it takes to shift your momentum. Fuel your mind and watch possibilities open up. Small wins stack up, focus sharpens, growth begins. Everything changes the moment you focus. Lock in and make the switch today. Bring your ambition into focus. Trade with Switch Markets.
Are you still trading everything manually? More traders are moving to automation, running strategies 24/7, removing emotion, and staying consistent. Now with Switch Markets, you've got the tools to build and run your own automated trading systems, so your strategy delivers even when you're asleep.
Meet Switch Markets, a broker for ambitious people who want to trade the financial markets.
You mean that I can trade things like Forex, stocks, even gold with you?
Yes, you can even trade the coffee bean market with us.
What about digital currencies? Can I trade them too?
Absolutely. Maybe now's your time to get in.
Oh, and are you regulated?
Yes, we are.
And how easy is it to deposit and withdraw? Will you charge me any fees?
It's easy. Deposit and withdraw instantly. Nice and simple. And unlike that guy, we won't grab any fees from you.
Do you have a low spread trading account?
We certainly do. Pick from our zero commission or our low spreads account. It's up to you.
Okay then, what makes you so different from every other broker out there?
Our 5-star rated real human customer support and our perks package worth thousands. No other broker can beat it.
So, who did you say you were again?
Switch to success. Trade with Switch Markets.
Getting started in trading shouldn't be complicated. You can open an account, get set up, and be ready to go pretty quickly. Now, if you've been thinking about it, take a look. Click the link in the description below. You can even start with a free demo account.
In trading, like climbing, the hardest step is to pause, hold, and trust your position. Ambition pulls you forward. Focus keeps you steady. Together, they take you higher. Bring your ambition into focus. Switch Markets.
Already trading with another broker? Fair enough. But if you haven't looked around lately, you might be missing out. Now, Switch Markets is picking up awards, offering tools most brokers don't, and their support actually shows up. It might be time for you to switch to Switch Markets. Click the link in the description below to get started today.
Discipline starts before the first punch is thrown. Focus sharpens in silence. Repetition builds control. Every movement prepares you for the fight ahead. Trading isn't luck. It's preparation. It's grit. Your fight is won long before the bell even rings. Champions trade with Switch Markets. It's time to bring your ambition into focus.
Are you still with the same broker? Now, there are better options out there. There's more tools, better support, and a platform built for traders. It's time that you demand more from your broker. Take a look at Switch Markets. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Trading Room. I'm Shane Vernier, and this is the week ahead. Today, we're going to go ahead and get you set up to trade week 35, 2026. We've got some key events coming later in the week. We've got the Jackson Hole Symposium. We probably are going to cover that live. Kevin Warsh is going to speak early on Friday morning, so I'm thinking about getting in there and maybe doing some live trading around Warsh's statement. It could definitely be a major player here in the markets. You'll notice that we got new digs. We just did a little bit of a move. Got a new office here, still getting it set up. So these live streams, I don't really know how they're going to look for a while, but we're going to be giving you the same type of information we always do. One big shout out to the University of Montana Grizzly football. Football season is beginning, so I've got out the hoodie, got out the tried and true Montana football hoodie. I am ready to go. Cannot wait to be in Washington Grizzly Stadium on Saturday night to watch the season opener. It's going to be a lot of fun. So this is a great time of year. I think we've got about another week, maybe 2 weeks of really the dog days of summer, and then we're shifting gears. Then we're shifting gears into fall trade, and it is time. It's time to go hard. Now, full disclosure, we've had some pretty good fortune over the last couple weeks trading live. I think we're going to do great in the coming week. I feel like we're dialed in. We've got a gold market that's moving. We've got a Bitcoin market that's moving. Great Britain Pound USD has got a potential opportunity for us. Also, NVIDIA. NVIDIA is going to drop earnings on Wednesday. That's going to be a huge economic event. And then WTI Crude's right around 85. Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, is going to announce the exact sanctions that represent economic D-Day for Iran. So I do want to give a big shout out to everybody out there. Lewis, good to see you out there in YouTube land. Packham. What's up, Shane? How are you? I'm doing very well, Packham. A little bit tired, guys. Full disclosure. Long weekend. It started probably Friday at about noon and finished up last night at about 9 o'clock, just to get everything moved in to the new place. So feel pretty good about it, though. A lot of it's done. Still a work in progress. You guys anybody that's ever moved, and all of you've moved at one point or another, know exactly how challenging it can really be to get everything exactly the way you want it. Like I said, these live streams probably going to be pretty vanilla for the week, but we are going to do some live trading and do as much as we possibly can ahead of that Labor Day. And then after Labor Day, we're not hitting the brakes. We're shifting gears. So yeah, been an interesting market open, up, down, then sideways. We're going to take a look at it. It all has to do with Bessent, what's coming out of the Treasury Department right now in the United States and the bond yields. We really do believe we're on the precipice of a major debt bubble. There's no question about it. It's just all about how this thing gets unraveled and if it can be done in an orderly fashion. Ralph H., good to see you over there. In YouTube land, on the How to Trade community. See, new office. Start making mistakes I don't usually make, but that's the way it is. Things are always a little bit different. That represents exactly what we deal with in the markets every single day. Bobby Bob, good to see you. Let me see. Sigma, XAU, then DXY. Wow. Read my mind. Great minds think alike. Let's get right on out to price action here in the gold market. You can see a 30-minute chart. Real big-time compression right around 46.75. Shouldn't really surprise anybody. Big pullback there. And now we're just sort of kicking it right around 46.50. Let's go ahead and back off to our long-term technicals and see exactly what's happening in this market. This was a trade idea that really did not go well for us. I had a nice sell-in dialed in from about 45.70, and we got swept out of the box fast. We got swept out of the box very, very quickly. So when I'm looking at something like this, I'm thinking, oh, man, what's going on with gold? Clearly, we're bullish. And it all has to do with unlimited quantitative easing, part 2, kicking off in the U.S. Treasury. The amount of money the Treasury is preparing to dump into the open market, into the bond market, into the economy is probably going to be unparalleled. It's going to, I don't know what these guys have planned, but I do know this. This is looking an awful lot like COVID. They are thinking about ways to get money into the economy. You start talking about buybacks, $4 billion buybacks on a regular basis. And then today, Bessent says that they may tap the Treasury's $1 trillion fund, whatever the heck that is. We're talking about big sums of money to support the bond market and bring those yields down a bit and maybe get people to sort of understand that, hey, we're gonna do the printing presses. We're going to fire up the printing presses and business is going to be good. That's why gold's up. That is exactly why gold's rallying. The U.S. dollar index right around 99. So it's a good question, Sigma. We're going to get in a second. DXY down. Typically, when the DXY is in a weak situation, the XAU goes up. Always remember that. That is the relationship. Dollar loses its value. Commodities go up. Very simple. We're actually starting to see some of that in Bitcoin as well. In any case, right here, you do see a good look at the gold market. Monthly chart. I love that level. It did not work. And the biggest thing you're ever going to do or ever going to learn as a trader is it's going to have to be one of those deals where you cut those losers off. Jeanette E., good to see you, Jeanette. Welcome. Hi, Shane. Great to see you live. I'm in the UK. Well, safe travels. I'm probably going to be in the UK a little later this year, so I'm just going to miss you. But always good to hear that you're watching live, Jeanette. Always a pleasure to be here. So let's talk a little gold. Let me see. Sigma, Russia. The heat in Europe, maybe that's why gold's up. Nah, gold's up because the dollar's flagging. I know the DXY is up just a little bit today, but Besant and the U.S. Treasury and what they're doing with the bond buyback essentially is a form of quantitative easing. That's all it is. And when we start talking about QE, that means commodity prices go up. Why? Because the dollar is going to lose its value. So let's go ahead and start off with this XAUUSD. You can see we broke right through the 45.75 threshold. I want to be a net buyer from there if possible. I don't think there's any reason to argue with the trend that's developing in gold. Tight compression, tight break. 19th of August break. What happened the 19th of August? That was our buyback program was announced. Doji here, break above our key level, didn't even slow it down. In my view, that area right there should have been a bit of a supply area. It's a demand zone. I want to buy. I want to buy right down there, right around 45.75 if I can get it. Let's run some quick Fibonacci's here. Spike low there, spike high. Pullback zone, pretty good stuff. I don't really like the market structure that much, but maybe if we get something like that, then we'll probably have a trade idea, be a net bidder. I still like being a bidder from just above 45.74, though. I think that's a really high octane, high probability long. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Yeah, I mean, that's very similar. Spike low here. If you wanted to be really aggressive, very aggressive on the gold market to open Mondays, and I don't really believe in that, but if you do want to do it, you'd be taking the longs right now. For me, I would wait. I would at least wait for a pullback to 46.25. And to be brutally honest with you, probably my best gold entry, I don't even like that one very much. I think that you wait. I really do. I think you look to shade down here just a little bit. 45.76, probably 45.77.50. Let me see. Ralph H, Rally Base Rally. Thank you for joining the live stream last Friday. We got a lot of great feedback on that. That's exactly what it is, Ralph. On a 4-hour chart. I mean, great eyes, great spot on a Monday morning. Nice break. Boom, boom. Now, it's not pretty. I mean, let's be real honest with you. It's not the best rally-based rally of all time. What you'd love to see is a demand zone potentially like this setup. I mean, that's really strong. They're just a nice choppy, but this still is. That's a rally. I mean, ignoring this, that's a rally. That's a base. You got about 12, 16 hours of base. So if I was looking at identifying the base right here, that's exactly what it would be. So if that's your base, where do you want to go long at? Let's see if we can get some Fibonacci help here. Nope, that's where this right there, that doji back on the 19th of August, where you're going to have to start. So probably the bottom end of that base. If you're a rally-based rally trader, you probably want to be right in here. I want to wait for a little bit better price. I think we're going to get it. However, 4-hour chart, you've got a 13-period EMA right there on the 4-hour, 45.92, sort of the bottom end of that base. I guess if you want to be aggressive with this base area, you'd be going like at 46. That's not a bad trade. I mean, that's a really nice spot early on a Monday. That right there is not the worst trade I've ever seen. It really isn't. We want to make our mistakes to the long in the gold market, though. So that's sort of how I would be looking to break it down. Not a bad area to be going long. Just dial your leverage down because you are going to have to let this one play a little bit. You want to stop yourself out beneath. If you're going to play the rally-based rally, you want to stop yourself out beneath the base. That also coalesces with our 38% and our 13-period EMA there. So, yeah, things are looking up. That ain't too bad. That ain't too bad for a Monday. Leverage in check, 1 to 3%, 5% of your total risk capital. I'll look the other way on 5. I'll probably have to tell somebody on 7. 7, you're getting pretty risky out there at 7, but that's just sort of the way it is. If you got to trade big, you got to trade big. If you're going to do that, all the best. All the best. Manage it tight. Yeah, absolutely for gold. Very good stuff right there. So let me see. DXY was our other question. Then we're going to cover some fundamentals, and then we're going to do some live trading here. I'm watching WTI Crude just sort of stagnate right around 85, so we're in no hurry to get over there. We'll also take a look at our U.S. equities indices, which are just in beautiful flat rotation, which makes me happy as well. It means we're going to get to trade a little bit of market profile. Okay, so right there, I don't know what they call this, plunge, base plunge. I mean, it's the opposite of rally-based rally. It really is. But the DXY you see right here, you've got a situation where you're in a downtrend, right? And it all began with Besant and the U.S. Treasury saying that we're going to support the bond market. We're going to buy back. We're going to put more money into the system. theoretically, that's, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can cut interest rates, and you can entice lenders to get money out there. You can entice people to borrow, lower interest rates, and really stimulate economic growth. Or you can do what the Trump administration is doing right now. They know that cutting interest rates really isn't an option in the face of this inflation, so they're trying to work it from the backside in the bond markets. Interesting stuff. In any case, this is our long-term look at the DXY. Spike high there, spike low, pullback zone, 38%, right around 101. And then you got sort of the big sell-off that's developed to end August, but then, to end July, and then also here in August, we're trending lower. And this is a positive thing for the markets. The stock markets are definitely going to respond in a bullish fashion to a weaker dollar. As far as your Forex majors, probably going to trend against the USD as they have been here for a little while. Euro USD, we had a great trade on that the other day. So we're going to go ahead and look at the Great Britain Pound here in a minute, and Bitcoin. Also want to check in on NVIDIA, and then we're going to look at some market profile trades, some pretty good stuff that we do have developing. So this is the week ahead. This is sort of when we set the table and get you all set, prepped, and ready to go. I think that it's going to be an interesting type of a scenario with regards to what we're looking at. Theoretically, for later this week, I think it's going to be a pretty good time to be trading. I'm expecting more dog days of summer type of stuff, but I do believe that we're going to be in decent shape when it comes time to make a couple of trades. So I do also want to show you a couple other things on our MT5 platform, some of the programming from that AI assistant. It's been interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and run through that real quick. Today, we're going to cover the U.S. Treasury auctions. Everybody's talking yields, so it is really relevant right now. Tuesday's consumer confidence. I love consumer confidence as a number. Typically, when confidence wanes, you're going into a recession. Confidence down, consumption down, odds of a recession, they go through the roof. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that tomorrow. That's going to be the big event, the Consumer Confidence Index. It's coming out Wednesday. PCE Price Index, that's the inflation number. That's the Fed's inflation metrics. And then also EIA Crude Oil inventories. Both of those pretty important, pretty big figures. So we're going to be watching those closely on Wednesday. Thursday, jobless claims and the Tokyo CPI. We're going to talk a little bit about the yen coming up here in a second, but Tokyo CPI is a big deal because it can move the yen, and we've got a trade idea on the board facing that dollar yen that I want to get in on, and maybe, just maybe, this will be the week, right? You can see Friday, Kevin Warsh speaks at the Jackson Hole Symposium. I think we're going to cover that one live. That's going to be at about 6. No, it's going to be at 8 a.m. my time, so about 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday. I think we're going to cover that. So I'm going to think more about that, but I think that's going to be some good live trading. We want to cover Warsh anytime that he speaks. Jackson Hole Symposium. If you remember about 3 years ago, Jerome Powell came in at Jackson Hole and basically said, okay, this is the end of our, maybe it was 4 years ago. I believe it was 3 years ago, though. This is the end of the dovish Fed, and we're going to go ahead and go hawkish. Going hawkish. Let me see. We got a message here from Ralph. Let's see. Excuse me. Sorry, my screens are so much smaller. Yeah, that's Ralph. Going on now, live news conference about Iran economic D-Day. It's good to know. Let's go ahead and just cursor over there. I'm not going to cover the live news conference, but I will be watching price action here relatively closely. Let's get on over to CNBC. All right, right there live. Secretary Scott Bessent. All right, they're showing us a commercial now. What do we have here? I should be able to hear that. Let's listen to a few questions, see what they say.
Against Chinese banks and shipping firms if they do not comply? And then secondly, as you look to take these unprecedented sanctions, you've also said that as the Iran conflict fades and oil prices recede, that will help bring down long-term bond yields. In the meantime, you have mentioned your toolkit, and I'm curious if you are looking at reducing auction sizes for longer-term dated Treasury debt going forward, and what other actions you may consider from that toolkit.
Yeah, well,
that's a long question.
Backwards, we issued the quarterly refunding announcement 2.5 weeks ago. We are going to continue with our regular program of auctions. So you will be hearing from us again at the beginning of next quarter. In terms of, as I said, every country, every entity should know that they should be prepared to face U.S. sanctions. And No one is above this. We are going to hold everyone accountable, and this is economic asphyxiation of this regime. And Jennifer, as I said, no one should test our resolve. So, Josh from New York.
Hey, Joshua. This is historic stuff. Let's take a peek for a minute.
You said you weren't going to name names, but there's been some reports that the United Arab Emirates is among some of the first nations to take seriously these words from the United States to cut off all business interactions with Iran. Is UAE leading the way in this respect?
I would think that the actions that they took last week were not coincident, but likely causal. And I would expect that we would see a broad array of countries taking similar actions as we continue our engagement. The UAE have been very good partners and have taken the brunt of the Iranian attacks in the Gulf. And what have these countries gotten over the years from appeasing Iran? They were subject to violent attacks. While we were bombing Iran, they were bombing them. So it shows that with this regime, appeasement does not work. And on the other side, with this regime, trying to buy appeasement will no longer work in the eyes of the United States of America. And I want to emphasize that we are spreading out across the world as we speak, that you will see a wave of sanctions when you leave this meeting today, and you should expect that cadence to continue. And I would expect that you will see a major announcement of a financial institution being sanctioned by the end of this week. So,
wow. A financial institution. That means a bank. Let's go one more question here, and then we'll get into the live trading. I got an order down on WTI crude. Crude oil coming off a bit underneath 85.
No, I'm looking for Samira from Sky. No, hi.
Does the United States and President Trump still want Canada to become a state? He did say that they're getting all the benefits of being a state without being one.
I think he would like Canada to come to the table and negotiate in good faith. They were offered quite a good deal last week. They chose to reject it. Unfortunately, Prime Minister Carney rose to power on an anti-American, anti-Trump platform. I believe he was more than 20 points behind.
Okay.
And,
we're devolving into politics here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the channel. But what we can say is this, definitely sort of raising the ante, I guess. That's what I would say. I mean, when you start talking about, economic sanctions, and he said by the end of the week, you're going to see a major financial institution sanction. That means they're going to go after a big bank that's doing business with Iran. Who would those banks, who would they be? You got to think Deutsche Bank, don't you? Immediately, you got to think Deutsche Bank. I think that you're going to see something probably in Switzerland. I mean, I got to tell you, that right there, that comment right there said we're going after the people that are facilitating this oil trade, this dark oil trade, and you've got to start thinking about names like Deutsche Bank right off the bat. I will be fascinated to see if they go after an international conglomerate that is a bank. That's for sure. What is the immediate impact of Besson's comments? Talking tough. We wanted to sell that point of control back up there. You can see WTI crude oil is coming down in a big way, about 25 cents since he started talking, about 50 cents. So the pressure is definitely bearish here on crude oil. So we're watching this closely. I would love to sell the point of control up here. I think it's a fantastic trade. I just don't know that we get it. So I got orders in there at about 85.14, which is way off the pace. Let's go right there to our NQ. We had a question here from Packa. He said, Shane, how do you trade continuation trends like the NAS today at the market open? It's a challenge. I mean, catching that right there right off the bat would be a real challenge. The first thing I would say probably is that you would want to attempt to execute. You'd want to attempt to execute probably a breakout. You're probably looking at the orb strategy on the open. But even if you went to a 15-minute chart on this type of market dynamic. You can see that orb just has not been executed. There's bar 1, bar 2 for the NQ. You don't really have it. You don't really have it. So right now, I would be looking at the NASDAQ, and I'd say, well, is it really down? Not really. 0.75 of a point. Fairly rotational. You got the bottom end of value. One thing that I would point out, we've been trading a lot of these ranges. We've been buying value areas. Buying the bottom of value, selling the top of value. In this instance, I wouldn't do it. And the reason why is take a look at this penetration off of that opening 30 minutes. Then you got compression and then the buyback. Do you really want to buy down there? It's a lot of room. There's a lot of room. Potentially, we could run some Fibonacci's and see if we could get something to line up with that value area. But if I was doing it, I would be very careful there. I would much rather sell the point of control right here in the NASDAQ. 2 units is a bit much for a Monday. We're going to talk a little Monday psychology in a second, but you're probably looking at like a one unit play. I don't like to go on the hole on Monday. I think it's a cardinal sin and can get you into real trouble. However, you've got to start somewhere, so you do need to make some trades. So that right there would be my sell from the point of control, right around 29,197-ish. And once again, we're not looking for really huge trades here. You're looking for just a couple $100 probably, trying to get in and get out, not risk a tremendous amount on a Monday, but you do want to make it worth your while. So I'm looking at WTI. I'm looking at this one, 84.83 in WTI. We're going to keep our eyes open there. This market here broke. Let's go back to the E-mini S&P 500. You can see this one's breaking south as well since Besant began talking. The YM E-mini Dow definitely coming off significantly right now. Besant's driving the markets into the ground, right? Surprise press conference about economic D-Day, and the markets just take a nosedive. Well, I mean, that's sort of the way that it can be. Riverlay, good to see you, River. Welcome. Always a pleasure. If you guys have any markets you'd like to look at, just go ahead and let me know. Right now, though, looking at these futures contracts, let's go to gold. Everybody's favorite gold. We're looking at December gold. Really a fantastic trade that we probably just missed. Nice bounce here, but now we're trending south. So what do we want to do here? All right, we want to buy gold. I do. I think buying gold's a pretty good idea. What do we got coming off? We got a trade coming our way. Lower end of value right down there. Lower end of the value area today is about 46.79.9. December gold futures. Order, buy limit. We're not going to start with 2 contracts on a gold on a Monday. That's way too much leverage. We're going to save those for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But somewhere right in there is not a bad area. Not a bad area. I want to make my mistakes to the buy side of the market. I really do. So if we've got the bottom of value right down in here, somewhere right around 46.80, we're looking at buying 46.84, something like that. Let's go ahead and shoot for probably a couple $100. Let's shoot for about 200. That's not too bad. We may manage this one on the fly. I think that if I can get sort of $100 without taking much of a risk, I'm more than happy to do that. Right now, remember, Monday psychology is a little bit different than the rest of the week. So let's go ahead and talk a little Monday psychology now that we have orders down on the board, and then we'll sort of get into our trade ideas that we do have out for this week. We've got one in Bitcoin and the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen. That's sort of where we're at with gold, though. Very, very active right now. We're waiting, right? They pay us to wait. They don't pay us to trade. WTI is off the pace a little bit, and we're waiting for that pullback maybe in the NASDAQ. It's going to be tough to get those equities trades, though, right now. All right, let's go ahead for week 35, Monday psychology. Very simple. I go over this every single week because it's important. Monday psychology, our primary objective is to trade to the positive and do not go into a hole. And what that means is we're not going to put on huge leverage today. We're not going to use huge leverage today. We're also going to be looking to take conservative profits. Start trading with someone else's money as fast as you possibly can. As fast as you can. And what that means is you get in there, you win a few trades, take a few pips out of the market, you're trading with their money. And then we'll start talking about how to parlay that into something significant potentially later this week. Last week was a pretty good hit. We're not going to recover it. We already did the numbers from last week, but it was right around 3,000. It's a pretty good week. Believe me, we will be trading heavily, and it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, not typically the day to do that. Not the day to do that. Think about what you have today. You got a quiet economics calendar, nothing really out there in the econ news, and you've got Besant taking the stage right now saying he's declaring economic war on the Iranians. A lot going on here today. Volume-wise, there's pretty good volume here. There's a lot of volume in the gold market right now. The last 1 minute gold futures we just did had about, let's see, how many contracts was that? About 379 contracts in a minute. That's fantastic. This is exactly when we want to be trading gold. So let's just wait and see exactly how that develops. WTI Crude Oil back up around 84.85. I'll let you know when it's time to maybe turn the chart over there, but we're looking for about, 84.14s That's going to be our sell. But I do like this buy right here. It's coming our way in gold. So that's the idea. We generate momentum on Mondays. We preserve it on Fridays, and we capitalize Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If we're going to be aggressive and we're going to go out on our shield, we're doing it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when business picks up. Been doing this for a while, guys. Mondays, I've taken some horrible beats on Mondays. No worse way to start your week than to start off in the hole, believe me. That can be really problematic. Here's our news of the day. Really not much to talk about, but bond yields are relevant right now. Everybody seems to be interested in the bond markets, especially the gentleman that we just saw speak. 3-month T-bill auction came in at about 3.175 unchanged. 6-month T-bills, 3.790. That's up higher. That's up a little bit higher. So when we start looking at the yields, as we get further out, you're starting to see those yields creep a little bit higher, and that suggests that many people believe that there's going to be potentially maybe a liquidity crunch. You start to see the lenders offering bigger yields. Remember, they're trying to attract your money. I was at the bank, Friday afternoon. Went in, had a meeting with them, and I wanted to know what they were doing with their T-bills. Not their T-bills, but their CDs, their CD rates. CD rates still like 3.75 on a 6-month. That's significant. That's relatively high, given the economic environment, specifically when we're talking about a Fed chair that is supposed to cut interest rates. Pretty good yields. This is a good look at your 10-year note. This is what we're going to be covering in this week's Switch On Hot Picks. I'm going to be breaking down the 10-year for you, but take a look at the yields. 2020 crashed down to nothing, right? Unlimited quantitative easing, COVID. Since then, yields have been on a steady climb, realistically peaked out somewhere right around 2023, late 2023. We're headed that way again. That suggests that, yeah, there is folks out there that are trying to attract capital, and the idea is very simple. You offer a higher yield. This is the way I think of bonds, and bonds are challenging. A lot of folks, bond traders, the Jeffrey Gunlocks of the world, those folks, they know their business and they know it very, very well. For me, I'm not a bond expert. I don't pretend to be. I don't particularly trade bonds. I invest in CDs and things when the rates are right. They call that the risk-free rate, is when you don't have to take a risk. They just pay you money for your deposit. Well, I like doing that sometimes. Been doing that the last several years because the yields have been decent. But take a look at what we're doing. We're trending higher here. We are sort of plateaued, a little bit of a dip down there to 4. Now you're creeping on 5%, which is where we were back in 2023 when what? When the Fed was raising interest rates to try to get inflation under control. They failed miserably, but now we're going into that same type of cycle. So you've got Besson on one end saying, okay, the Fed or the U.S. Treasury is going to buy back a ton of bonds, and we're going to get that liquidity, get that money in the system, and make this economy churn no matter what the Fed does, because they do believe the Fed is going to have to come with a rate hike at some point. Why? Energy, crude oil, the Persian Gulf. Okay, that's enough of that. We could talk about monetary policy all day long. What has Besant done to the DXY since he's been talking? Let's go to the 5-minute chart. What's happened? Not a coincidence. Dollar starts strengthening, right? Why? Because if you're talking about attacking an international banking institution, somebody that's facilitating the trade of that oil and actually conducting the transactions, you're talking about attacking liquidity. Guys, there's an old saying, watch the Discovery Channel, Shark Week. You don't see sharks eating sharks. You don't see bankers eating bankers. Not at that level. Big banks eat little banks. Big banks don't eat big banks unless there's a good reason to do so. Essentially what Besson is a banker, and he's got a lot of clout behind him, and that's the U.S. Treasury. Can't wait to trade this stuff, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's get back to our gold trade. Looks like we just missed entry. That's okay. Not too much to worry about here. I still like the bottom of value there. Let's cursor over to our WTI trade. WTI, we want to sell that point of control up there at 85.14. Highly doubt we get it in the next half hour or so, but we may. Let's go ahead and take out the NQ right here. Market comes off big. Now we're starting to trend a little bit to the south, aren't we? We're down almost 1% on this E-mini NASDAQ. We wanted to sell that point of control. Probably could have got it right there for a great trade. Do we get it? That's going to be really tough. YM E-mini Dow, you see these 1-minute charts really starting to break down south, essentially, since Besant started talking. So let's go to the 30-minute. Creeping back into value. One trade that we probably could look at is to try to trade Fibonacci's based on the U.S. range. Spike low there, spike high. That's the New York low to the New York high, breaking right through 62%. Next port of call for this YM, this E-mini Dow, would be down around 53.3. I don't particularly love it. I really don't. Really, that was a great trade from 62%, though. Very, very nice tight scalp. That's exactly what we're looking for on a Monday. Let's back this off. Let's go looking for not the DXY. Let's go looking for the NASDAQ. Is there anything we can do with the NASDAQ right now? It's starting to break out to the downside, no question about it. You can see our market profile. Point of control is right up here yonder. 29,195-ish. I would love to sell up there. We're just about, 50 points down the queue. We could definitely get the trade in the next 30 minutes. We certainly could. The real question is how do we want to execute? We need to make a trade, that's for sure, but it just doesn't need to be a big one. Let's go right there. Let's go spike low. Let's go right there to our spike high. Now, what does this represent right here? There's your New York low. There's your New York high. Well, that's not true. We opened a little bit higher, so I would say this is your G period high. So is this wave good enough to trade? I don't really think so. Look at the volumes. Sort of evenly distributed down there. Odds are we're just going to sort of mill around and potentially build a better value area, maybe down around 29,000. I would consider that 29,052 a buy there from on this NQ. Right now, though, we want to sell it. If we can get a chance to sell it, I would love to sell it up there, right around the New York, not the New York top, but right around the top of that G period high. That'll be a lot of fun if we get that trade. I just don't know that we will. WTI coming off still a little bit. How's our gold trade looking? Gold's going to be a challenge to get this one, but we will wait. We will wait. We'll put it on gold right there and sort of see exactly what happens. Do we want to sell the point of control right now on gold? We could. I mean, it's an aggressive trade. I don't necessarily mind making that trade. I just don't want to take a position to the short against gold. I think that's a big mistake. I really do. Let's go ahead with a sell limit order right there at about 46.99.9. What is the POC? Yeah, pretty good trade right there. So let's go ahead and take this down just a shade. We want to be a little bit aggressive right here. Let's go ahead and go right there. Take profit. We're not asking for the earth to move here. Let's just go ahead and see if we can get in on a few bucks. We should be dancing right here. Now, a couple of things on the psychology. We're trading one lot because it's a Monday. I have no desire to take a big loss here, but we will shoot for about 20 ticks. Maybe 15 ticks. That's a pretty good trade right there. And we'll manage this in a dynamic fashion. So what we're doing is we're selling the point of control. Selling the point of control. Is that a good trade? Not really for gold. We're going to try to get a scalp, maybe rip a scalp there, but okay, now the market's coming off just a little bit, so we're in rotation, so I feel pretty good about it, but we're going to have to be smart about what we do. That's for sure. All right, now gold's coming down to our value. We're going to check value. Sean Evans, good to see you. Sean, welcome. Hello, Shane. Do you think single stock futures will get popular? You know, I had a guy ask me about single stock futures the other day. The volumes are ridiculously low right now. I like them. You can't really scalp, though, when you start talking about just, take a look at these volumes. The volumes, 107, 103, 86, 76, 65. Let's say I wanted to go long micro Amazon. Let's say I want to buy Amazon on this futures contract, micro Amazon. Man, there's only 17, volume of 17. There's a real good chance I can't get out of that trade. And the problem, guys, with real thin markets like this is that, I hate to say it, but the big guys can easily rig the game against you. They can rig any game they want. Not to be negative about it. They really can. They have the liquidity just to sell, or buy. That really makes it tough on retail, although that's also the reason why we're here, is to follow some of those moves. But if you, let's say there's 107 volume for the day on the Micro Bank of America contract. What am I going to do with that? Now, that is a micro, so let's go to standards, be a little bigger. Okay, NVIDIA. Everybody's trading NVIDIA. We're going to cover that in just a second. 302 contracts. What happens if somebody comes up and sells 100? It's going to really move it. Really move it. What happens if I buy and I want to get out? Is there a guarantee with 302 that I'm going to be able to get out? That's a very intimate game right now. Very intimate. I think that over time, these things could catch on, Sean. I haven't traded them yet. I'm interested. I've always been jealous of the European CFD sector. I really have been. But, on the other hand, can you jump in and really trade that thing aggressively? No, not right now. Now, if you want to do it, I would recommend getting started with the micros. I think that would be a pretty good way to do it. But man, those volumes are small, man. You're really in trouble. If they come in and sweep one way or the other, really in trouble. Okay, we're still looking at our gold trade. You can see we're just milling around. It's really a tough cookie today, guys. It's been tough. Typically Mondays are rough. Right there, though, that's going to be our trade. It's about 47.04. 47.03 is the point of control. I would love to get this sell. I would love to take this sell scalp, probably more than buying the bottom of value at this point. Something to think about there. All right, let's go to a couple other trades. Bitcoin, this is a trade idea that we had out. I put this one out Friday. I really like this one. I think we've got an opportunity potentially to get a really nice sell. And you see right here is the trade idea. Big picture. What are we looking at? Are we bullish or bearish Bitcoin? Man, a lot of bidders came out of the woodwork last week. I mean, a lot of bidders came out of the woodwork for Bitcoin, especially after Trump had all the honchos, all the crypto honchos at the White House. I mean, the Winklevoss twins were there. You know, if you guys remember them from the Facebook movie, him and Zuckerberg, those guys and Zuckerberg went round and round and round, right? My point is this. Somebody started believing in crypto, and they really started believing in Bitcoin. So right there, I'm looking at 38% retracement, an area that was pretty good support for us. 83,949, maybe that 84 level could be an absolutely fantastic area for us to step up and take some scalp shorts. Not really who am I kidding? 4,000 pips isn't a scalp, but in Bitcoin, $4,000 can happen relatively quick. So this would be a short-term position, not a scalp. My apologies for misspeaking, but you will see this is the chart, yearly chart for Bitcoin. I believe these levels are incredibly important. They really are. Spike low, January 2022's low to the high of 2025, and we tested. I mean, we checked the chin of 62% and got a really nice bounce. That tells us a lot. It tells us that the uptrend is still valid. It also tells us that the bidders are home. Somebody was home. We blew right through 70 like nobody's business. I'm looking at selling potentially right up there, right around 84. I believe our level is going to be, 81,750. So the sell signal, it's not a signal provider. I'm not a signal provider, excuse me, but the sell is right in there, 81,150, somewhere right in here, 81,150. Somewhere right in that zone is going to be the sell, and we're right on the doorstep. So I'll be looking to take that Bitcoin sell early in the week. I think that's a pretty good way to be approaching this massive rally in Bitcoin, is maybe try to sell the top of it. I know that doesn't sound wise, but if you take a look at Bitcoin, it really is in rotation for this year. It's not trending. We're not trying to pick the absolute top of BTC. What we're trying to do is get in on a level that is in the middle. It really is. All right, gold. Here we go. We're plus 90. I'm sorry, I missed our entry here. We didn't quite hit our 160. We're looking to potentially make a few bucks on a Monday trade. I absolutely love it. We're right here, plus 20, plus 20. You'll notice that I do not have a stop loss down just yet, and that's not because we're going to let this thing go against us very long. We will be aggressive. We will be aggressive, but we're in a pretty good spot right here, up about 50 bucks. We want to go down. Let's grab 160. All right, back up to 20. A little bit of bullish price action here hitting gold. We're not going to dawdle with this thing, though. If it does break against us, we're going to rip the Band-Aid and take the loss. But I would like to get off on the right foot for the trading week. $50. Remember last week we left about plus $15 on the session. I'm not afraid to walk away scratch on a Monday session. So right there, plus 60. I still say we give this one time to bleed a little bit. Plus 110. That's not a bad little trade. To begin your trading week, plus $100, plus 90. Let's go ahead and hold out for just a second, though. I do like what's happening price action wise. I think that we're probably going to sell off and hit our profit target. Mine at plus 110, plus 80, plus 110, plus 80. You know, we're in a situation now where I really think the next move's probably down. Plus 110, plus 110. Plus 160. This is an area where we're just not going to hem-haw around. We're not going to dawdle with it. I'm going to go ahead and take the money, plus 100. Now, a lot of folks are going to look at that trade that we just executed, and they're going to call me a rank amateur and say that you can't do that over the long run. And I'm going to say, yes, I can. Yes, I can. What happened on that trade? What happened? Let's slow down. I know I start talking fast and we get rocking and rolling, but what happened? We retraced up. We hit our point of control. First trade of the week. We've got low leverage on. We've got one contract. Is that all the more reason to let that thing run and go down and get your 16? I could make that argument. However, it didn't go against us. What's the high right there? 46.99.6. What was our entry? Let's go right into our balance. What was our entry? Short rate was 46.98.4. What was the high? Right there. 46.98.1. Was that it? Right there. Didn't go against us. High. Right there was 46.99.6. What were we in? 46.98.4. So it went against us a few ticks, 12 ticks, something like that. So we took the worst of it. We took the money off the board. It's not a bad way to start the week. We're on the board. $100 win, $5 commission. We're working with commissions. You can see we started this account with about 10 grand in it. We're up about 3,100. You know, it's not enough money to go buy a rig yet or buy a truck or a new house or anything, but what we're doing is grinding, trying to keep the cash flows positive. So right now for me, that's a relatively decent trade. I think we did the right thing. I really do. You'll notice that this high, maybe our entry point wasn't good enough. The high right there was 46.99.6. We had to love 4,700 as being potential natural resistance. Where's the resistance zone? Right there. Point of control, POC. It's a pretty good trade. Really isn't a bad trade at all. So we were definitely aggressive there with our profit target and also our entry. I like it. I like the way that paid off. Not a bad trade at all. Okay, let's go hunting, see what else we got. Let's see right here. It's just unfortunate. We missed this trade. We missed this NASDAQ trade. I should have been trading, not talking when we first came on the air, and we could have got that one. That point of control sell was absolutely beautiful, and you can see now the downward pressure is definitely winning the day for the NASDAQ. What would we want to do here? You know, for me, I'm not really interested in buying Fibonacci's on what I would call a microwave. Not really interested in it. I would love to buy maybe 62% down there, take a shot from there. But as far as 38%, I'm just not interested. Now, if 38% lined up perfectly with our not our POC, but the lower end of value, absolutely right. Absolutely right. We would dive in with hands full of money and make our scalps get in and get out. It doesn't though. So I'm still a little bit anxious about the NQ. Don't worry, we will trade the NQ probably tomorrow and the next day. Let's go to our E-mini S&P 500. E-mini S&P 500 right here. Okay, you are trading the bottom of value right now. So theoretically, we could take a long, but we have to start deciding, you know, what's our risk going to look like. You are right at the bottom of value. I probably would pass on this trade. And the reason why is you've sort of already broken beneath that value area. Sort of real sloppy down here. Value right here, the POC. Selling the point of control is probably a better trade. And that's only up there about 4 points. So if we were serious about taking another trade today, that would probably be a pretty good one. What happened to our WTI trade? We got any love there? That's really close. That's really close. The high of this 30-minute bar was about 85.06, and we're up there at 85.14. That's a shame. We could have got that one. It just didn't quite go high enough for us. Absolutely love it, though. 13-period, 30-minute EMA. 13 EMA on the 30-minute chart is right there on our point of control. So to me, I'm taking a good look at that and saying, yeah, that's pretty good trade. So we're going to go ahead and leave that. Maybe we get it here in the next few minutes. I would love it. You got about 45 minutes of premium WTI crude oil trading left in the trading day. That is a really good thing for us, especially if we're looking for volatility. Sluggish, slow rotational day. I know what everybody's going to say about oil. You're down 2.5%. What do you mean rotational? I mean, since the U.S. session started, take a look at what you got. So right here, 9 a.m. Eastern, about 30 minutes before the cash open. Typically when volume picks up, business picks up, traditional NYMEX open. Sell off right there, bounce right back up into the middle of value. You're trading beneath value, but you really are right on the doorstep of where most of this business was conducted earlier in the day. That means you're in rotation. You went from about a high of 86 down to 84, and now you're trading 85. That's a rotational market. So as far as being down 2.5%, yeah, I mean, maybe if you want to go back to that Sunday open. But as far as what we've done since the volume's been in the market, flat line. It's a flat line. Would love to trade it, though. Would absolutely love to sell that. I think that's a good one, really a good one. E-mini S&P 500, though, this one does sort of have my attention now. Point of control right there. Okay, they just moved the point of control down, so we do have an opportunity potentially to get a trade right there. 76, yeah, it's gone now, but we can try it. Okay, very, very tight in there, though. So let's go sell limit. We're not starting with $25 a tick. We're going to start with $12.50. Sell limit, I want to be right in this zone. POC, right there. We'd sell 46.71s. Point of control. Yeah, see, they're moving the point of control all over the place right now. Why are they? Because of the volumes. Remember, the POC, the point of control, is the area where the most volume has been traded on the day, and you can see by those bars right there, it's a close race. It's a really close race, so I think selling this area is probably going to put you in decent shape. Right now, though, as it stands, the POC is right around 76.8, 76.68, 75, and that is what we're going to do. We're going to shade that down right there, and then we're going to go ahead, and that's going to be our trade. So we're in the queue right there at 76, 68.50. I don't know that we get that one. I think that's going to be a really tough one. Let's go back over, then we're going to cover a few other things and probably head for the showers today. You can see 62%. So do we want to take this trade? Now, this is an interesting thing. This is a New York session. Let's go right to our New York low here. E-mini Dow New York session. Do we want to step up and buy 53.370 or 57s? It's not bad. The reason why it's not bad is because you can trade the E-mini Dow 2 contracts because it's only $5 a contract. Let's give it a shot. Let's trade right there at 59s. Let's send them at 60s. Let's send them right around 60 and see if we get a little bit of love. We're about 16 points off of that pace right now. If I could dial it in, I guess I could just enter it. Okay, that's where we want to be. Let's go ahead and buy that. Take profit's going to be very conservative. We're going to be looking price something like this. Maybe just trying to make 100, 120 bucks, something like that. I'm not really too interested in taking big draws on a Monday. Just don't want to do it. Call me lazy. Call me stupid. Call me whatever you want. I don't like losing money on Mondays, guys. Don't like losing money on Mondays. We're willing to lose it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not willing to lose it on Monday. And Friday the rest of the week dictates what we do on Fridays. So then there's that. Let's push it back on over to gold, see what gold's doing. Interesting, just sort of moving back up into the guts of that range. Yeah, we already got our sell. That's a pretty good trade. I think we're going to leave gold exactly where it is. This is interesting. WTI Crude, we're not going to get a chance there. I almost guarantee it. NQ's gone. We won't get that either. Potentially a bid down here, though. We could play the bottom of value if you want. I think it's a mistake right now just because of the distribution of this volume. You can see it's relatively flat down here, meaning we've traded all these areas with the same volume. Potentially that means that your value area is probably suspect. The bottom of value is probably somewhere down in here, more than likely down in here. So if we were looking at maybe a market profile, not a market profile play, but a smart play, a smart money play, 29.05 is probably buying 29,000s late in the day. That's a relatively strong trade. Not bad. Let's go back to our E-mini S&P 500. Do we get any love there at all? Nah, we're not going to get that one. We'll try, though. YM, we got a better chance of getting long right here, I think. This would probably be the best one we've got on the board. At least odds of getting a trade. Okay. All right, everybody. We got a couple other trade ideas that I do want to talk about. Number one is going to be our dollar-yen. I promised a little bit of action on dollar-yen. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. We are sort of moving slowly towards our level. To be all honest with you, we're looking to sell 160.49s. I've been harping on this one for like days and days. If it doesn't go soon, we're going to have to take it out of the slide deck because it is starting to get old. It's starting to bore me. Right there, you see we're trading about 159.18, and I'm looking for about 160.49s on the sell. I want to be aggressive on the sell. I think we're going to get an opportunity potentially to get it, but it's going to take some time. And honestly, we've been talking about this one for so stinking long that it is starting to get annoying. I mean, it really is starting to get annoying. So let's just wait and see what happens there. Wait and see what happens. Let's go ahead. Great Britain Pound USD. I did promise to look at this one. And the reason why is because we got something. We've got something. Number one, we've got sort of a bullish trend. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is a trend. Nice big break there. We're talking about moving on a daily chart from about 132.75 up to about 136. That's a pretty good significant move over what do you got? Probably about a month, going back to about late July. So about a month, I would say. Pretty good bullish move. The dollar's sort of been getting ripped. Pretty good. Nice aggressive play here, though. I really don't have any problem betting against the dollar, guys. I think economic D-Day is going to be bearish for the USD. I think that's what it's designed to do. We will wait and see, though. We will wait and see. Spike high right up in here. Great Britain Pound USD. Interesting. 136.16. I think that's a pretty good bid. I think it's a pretty good bid. If you want to be more conservative, 135.79-ish. That's not a bad one either. But this Great Britain Pound USD, keep an eye on your inboxes if you're a howtotrade.com member. You'll get this trade idea, and also my X account, Shane V_trader. Probably going to get something on the Great Britain Pound USD in the next couple of days. We'll wait, and I may be too late, but I'm not. If you want to be aggressive with this pair, 136.16, I really don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to eat your lunch for taking that trade. 135.79 is better. 62% the back end of that Fibonacci golden zone. That's a better buy, no question. But right now, I mean, the best buy on the board is 135.53. You've got a 13-day EMA down there, 135.50-ish. It's a fantastic trade. Do you get it? Or is it wishful thinking? Well, it's only 75 pips down the queue. The problem is we don't have a whole lot that's going to move the pound this week. So something definitely to think about there. Let's go back to our YM trade. Yeah, I mean, we're doing the best we can to get another. Okay, here we go. Got a little action here on the E-mini S&P 500, a little bit of bullish action. Okay, we're going to get freight trained right here. We should get filled. Okay, there's our fill. We want to get in and out of this thing. Looking for about $75 or so. We're not going to let this bleed against us, though. Right now, back to even, back to break even. Okay, we're playing theoretically with house money. We made the $100 gold trade, but we're still down a little bit in this trade. I don't like the way that this is setting up. However, we are right at that POC. We're seeing some bids hit the market right now, though. That's significant. That's big-time volume. About 2,000 contracts just hit and swept this thing back up to our point of control. Price starting to come our way now. Now we're up 12.50. Now we're up 25. Essentially just a couple of ticks in our favor. We still want to stick with this trade, though. It's not a bad one yet. 37.50. Now we're getting down into the area where maybe we start thinking about taking the money. It's a Monday, 62, $50. We're up 62. Are we going to get our 72 or our 75 fill out? Okay, there we go. Strong trade. I really liked it. What happened? How did we get this job done? Spike in volume. Okay, 1.93 thousand in 1 minute. Nice rotation, beautiful rotation right up to our point of control. Point of control was right there. Very nice. Very, very nice. Let's go to our 1 minute chart. 1 minute chart rolled up to about 169. Or excuse me, not 169. So we look at so many numbers, I get confused. Something like that. Pretty tasty. Pretty good move. Nice big spike in volume, and then it came right down positive. Went against us a few ticks there. 69. What was our entry? Somewhere right up in there. I don't even remember it. Went against us a few ticks, came down and paid us off. Pretty good stuff. What's going on the NASDAQ? Are we going to get a shot there? Nope. NASDAQ's coming off in a big, big way. How about the YM? We saw some movement in equities there. I would love to get this trade right now. 53, 360. Let's just wait a second and see if that one comes into play. Strong trade, though. Really a strong trade if you wanted to take a look at that 30-minute chart for your E-mini S&P 500. Pretty good to us with the market profile this summer. It really has been. Let's go ahead and turn on that TPO chart. Something like this. Man, that's strong, guys. Bottom end of value. You've got the POC, the point of control, lining up at the bottom of value, suggesting that the market may move just a little bit lower. We still have intraday lows, though, that were made on the New York session. You really are in a flat rotational day, and trading points of controls on flat days is pretty good. It's a pretty good thing. So, solid Monday thus far. I'm going to go ahead and wipe the other orders off. We've got a couple other things. I'm not going to wipe this one. I'm sticking with this one. The NQ, though, we're going to go ahead and pull that one. There really isn't any reason to believe we're going to get short there, but I do like the opportunity here. So let's go ahead and wait. Potentially we'll get a bid. So we've covered some Forex pairs, like the Great Britain pound US dollar. I think that's a pretty tasty one maybe for later this week. The dollar yen, I'm holding out hope, and I hate saying hope on live streams. You find yourself hoping and trading, typically you're losing. Bitcoin, though, that trade idea is out there. A lot of confidence in that one if we get a chance. So right there, I'll just go ahead and keep this one and watch this YM trade sort of set up. Let's take a look at the trading dome. Just not much action here, guys. Really thin conditions. That can be problematic. Let me see. Hi, boss. Please increase the sound. How about that, guys? Sorry about that, Abdullah. And if there's ever any problem with the sound, you guys just let me know. I'll do my best to get it going. But we did just come off of a move, so my levels probably are all screwed up. You can always turn your thing up too, though, so don't worry about it. All right, guys, let's see. A couple other things that I do want to cover. We already covered Besant and what exactly he's going to do to the markets. They're trying to prop up the bond market and sustain the idea of liquidity. That's all. Basically all they're doing. They're saying, no, there's liquidity for everybody. Go ahead and buy your stocks. Go ahead and buy your cars. Do whatever you want. That's what they're doing. Right now, Iran war. You've got U.S. to unveil new sanctions. We're waiting to hear what the sanctions are. Besant just came out and talked tough for a while. What are the sanctions? We don't know yet. We don't know who they're going to be pointed at either. U.S. war latest. Iran is collapsing, says Trump. Yeah, we've heard all this stuff before. Oil falls ahead of U.S. plan. Oil's down to about $84.75. We're not going to get that trade. That's a damn shame. We wanted that one. Iran threatens 45 tankers with fines, confiscation, Hormuz escalation. more of the same, guys. This is a big one, though, poly market. This is really an important thing that we're going to be looking at probably religiously as we move forward in time. But you can take a look at our midterm predictions. We are looking at the midterm elections in about 70 days, so it's getting down to crunch time. Poly market is very accurate when it comes to odds and predicting elections. If you're a Republican right now, you're probably looking over your shoulder. The Democrats have taken the House. I think that's already finished. I really do. I think that's just an absolutely, it's not a huge upset. History tells us that typically the House of Representatives goes against the incumbent party. Whoever holds the presidency, typically the House goes the other way on the midterm elections. That shouldn't surprise anybody. This is the one that has all the talking heads and everybody's sort of looking, going, this could be a blue wave. 51% chance Republicans keep the Senate. Right now, they do have the majority. It's a slim majority, but still a majority. There were several retirees out of the Republican Party. You've also got people like Mitch McConnell that are hanging on, that they're wondering about his health. He may not be in the Senate, but it looks to me like he's going to hang on until the election. But if, in fact, there is another resignation or a death, we saw Lindsey Graham. He passed away. We saw Steve Daines here in Montana decided that he was going to retire. This seat in Montana is up in the air. There's a couple of different contestants. So this right here, this could go very, very blue, or the Republicans could hold on. But this in here, this could go blue. What this means is you're looking at impeachments right away. As soon as the Democrats win the House, they will submit articles of impeachment against Trump, against people in his cabinet, and a lot of it. And the big loser on all that news is probably going to be something like Bitcoin. No question about it. So we're going to be watching those. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and pull that off. Let's go back to the U.S. oil chart. We're not going to get that trade. I don't know who we're kidding. But really a productive day of trading today. We'll go over the bottom line here in a second. But I don't worry about Mondays, guys. As long as it's not a big loss, I genuinely don't care. I genuinely don't care about Mondays. So there's a good look at your Iran war. Nobody really knows nothing. Jackson Hole Symposium. This is a big one, guys. That's a big one. Not too far from here. Landed here in Dillon, Montana. Jackson Hole is probably, 2.5 hours away from here? 3 hours away. I'm just on the other side of the park down there, sort of on the border of Yellowstone Park. Beautiful country if you've ever been, if you ever get a chance. Jackson Hole, though, I will be honest with you, it's very ritzy. It's very high dollar. It's very upscale. So if you go there and you buy a beer, expect it to be probably $12. The old timers, a lot of folks like my dad and uncles, they used to tell me stories. They would go up through Jackson Hole back in the old days, back in like the mid 70s. And they would go up through there, and it was legitimately just a tiny town where you would get gasoline and something to eat. And they had a big arch made out of elk horns. I think the arch is still there, but that was all that was there. Premier hunting grounds. Everybody went there to hunt. All the hunters did. There wasn't as many back then, but really a beautiful country. And that is where the honchos of the world are going to be this weekend. August 27th to 29th, hosted by the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City and Jackson Hole. What we care about is Kevin Warsh. Kevin Warsh is going to speak on Friday the 28th. I'm going to go ahead and cover that one live for you because I think we're going to get some good trading. I really do. I really do. That's for sure. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off right now. Babji, what's up, Shane? Did you manage to get your hands on more RAM? Do I need more RAM? I don't know. This machine's humming pretty good. I mean, I could run a control. Let's run it real quick and see what my usage is. What is my usage? All right, I'm running about 28% of capacity. Running 28% of 22% of capacity, 32% memory. So my machine's hanging in there pretty good. It's not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. I do need a new one though. That's for sure, Babgees. It was put to me. I was told, like in no uncertain terms, by some people. They say, Shane, you need to go get one of those great big gaming computers, so you've got everything that you need right in front of you, and you can do any kind of graphic presentation that you want. And I said, it's not really the money that I'm worried about. I don't care, but it just that machine, that's a good little machine. It's fast too. It's juiced up pretty good. It's got a fast process. It's got the i9 processor in there, i9 next generation. That thing's fast. I've had it for like 2 years and it hasn't blown up yet. You know how many computers I've blown through in the last 10 years? Jeez. Seemed like for a while there was one a year. That's for sure. You're welcome, Sean. All right, guys, let's just do a quick recap. I don't like sitting around recapping the money. I really don't like looking at the money during the trading week because I don't believe that it does us any good. We'll recap today's action, though. Doing pretty well since we kicked off this $10,000 deal. Balance history today, really exactly what I'm looking for out of a Monday. Exactly what I'm looking for out of a Monday. We came in right there. We nailed that gold trade. That was really a strong trade with one contract. Still, though, taking risk on a Monday is something I don't like doing. So right there, so that was 100. We took a 5. What do we go? 5 there. And then we went 5 on that E-mini trade, I believe. Yeah, so something like that. I don't know. It looks like we're getting double. They're double charging us. We'll figure it out. We'll figure the commissions out. But essentially, $5 a side is what you should be paying if you're trading futures. Probably round turn, probably $5 or $6 round turn. Looks like they're charging us $5 a side here, which is hurting us. We're still profitable, but looking at this today, so we'd be up about $175, and you should take about $10 off of that for the day. So somewhere right in there, right around 100 and 165. I know it's not a huge number, and I know that's not what people do on YouTube. They don't. They're going to sit here and show you a whole bunch of monstrous numbers. And then you're going to say, hey, trade size. Come on, private jets, Ferraris, trade size. I'm just saying from a retail perspective, the way that we traded today, you could trade with a $3,000 account, $5,000 account, $10,000 account. So look at what the situation we're in going into tomorrow. Going into tomorrow. It's a good situation. It's a good problem to have. It really is. You're up a little bit of money. You're going to have an opportunity to dive in and get more aggressive. And it just gives us more ammo. Gives us more ammo because realistically, our fate and our success is going to depend on how we trade Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Every week. We trade well then. We're going to be Friday. We're going to be smiling ear to ear. So today, yeah, we're up a little bit of money, but honestly, it's going to have little bearing. Tomorrow the size goes up. Tomorrow the frequency of trades are going to go up. There's going to be more trades tomorrow. I almost guarantee it. So Tuesday's a big day. CB Consumer Confidence Index is out. One last thing I want to show you over on the Switch Markets platform. This is something that we're going to be building a lot of content on in the coming months. I'm already working on some things. Honestly, we've sort of fallen off in the video department. Not a whole lot of new videos coming out. We've poured more effort and time into these live streams than anything. I think they're honestly, in my view, I would much rather watch a live stream that's instructive, that's interactive and instructive than maybe watch a vanilla video, a how-to video. But there really is some value in how-to videos. This is interesting. I'm sort of taking a look at a couple of things that have to do with this AI, this MT5 AI assistant. I don't know if any of you have worked for it, or worked with it, excuse me, but you just go ahead and type in your question, and once you get your platform all hooked up, and it is a bit of a chore to hook it up, I will be honest with you. So, it doesn't know everything. It's not the best for knowing everything. So like, let's say I want to go, what time does Kevin Warsh speak on Friday? Odds are it's not going to know, but maybe it does. So let's go ahead and have a chance. This is brought to you by MT5. This doesn't have anything to do with how to trade or switch markets. Switch Markets has a platform out there, or an affiliation with Algo Builder, algobuilder.com, which has a lot of info. But this is interesting right there. I don't have access to Kevin Warsh's speaking schedule or calendar, so I can't tell you what time he's going to speak on Friday. So it doesn't really know. However, one way that it really does excel, and this is something right here this is the 920 EMA crossover. And you'll notice that the bars are colored gold for a crossover, purple for a cross under. Well, this is really a fantastic teaching moment because I talk a lot about when not to trade a crossover. It's all about the weave, guys, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about the weave. There's a buy, there's a sell. There's a buy, there's a sell. There's a buy, there's a sell. Anytime you see the 920 set up with a frequency of indications like this, frequent crossovers, that's called a weave. Think like a basket weave. Boom, 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 boom. You don't want to be involved in that. You let that one play out. However, if you took the last sell, you broke, and you're up a few bucks here in this EURUSD 15-minute chart. So that AI assistant helped me code that relatively short. You can see right there, we do have an EMA cross alert right there in my navigator. See if you can see that a little bit. Take this up. Right there. All you do is the AI. We went over here, talked a little bit about, I want the crossing the 20. I want to cross over to be gold, the cross under to be purple, and I want that plotted on the charts. There has been an astounding amount of interest in this AI machine on MT5. So we're going to be doing some things, maybe a workshop later this week on how to exactly do this, but essentially this is what it is. I mean, it's just entering, getting something going, and the beauty of this is that it codes it automatically, and instead of us having to go to our MQL5, in our MQL5 editor and start cutting and pasting things like maybe from an outside AI source, it does it automatically. So that's a pretty good feature. We're going to be talking more about that. Excuse me. Still battling a little bit of a cold. We're going to be talking more about that as we move forward. But this stuff right here, pretty good, pretty good. All right, one last look around the horn here, but I think we're pretty much finished for today. 84.79. We've got about 25 minutes left in the WTI crude oil market. You're seeing some compression right in this zone. I mean, if I'm trading, I'm very careful right now with WTI. If you get a pullback, though, probably up to your POC, a clean point of control trade. That's a pretty good sell late in the day. But right now, very, very tight. Very, very tight for WTI. Gold, 46.91. You could probably sell the point of control again and get away with it. For me, I think we've already had a productive Monday, so I'm going to go ahead and stick a needle in it. I think it's done. Nice break right here, 38% pullback in the NASDAQ. You're going up to that POC right now, potentially, 29,198. Probably going to be a pretty good trade up there. YM right here. We didn't quite get the follow through to our 78%. I would have loved that trade right down around 53.3 to the bid. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off today. Remember, if you want more up to date or you want more of this content and these trade ideas, if there's ever something that goes off the board while we're live here, I always post the results on X. Remember, transparency is everything. If we win, we win and we feel good. But when we lose is really what makes the trade, or how you deal with losses and how much time you put into learning from your losses. That's critical. You learn by losing in this game. Learn from every dollar that you spend on losing trades. Every dollar, learn from them. Very important. All right, guys, that's a wrap for me. Have a fantastic trading day. Remember, if you want to contact me, head on over to howtotrade.com. Sign up for your free account. Click on my picture. Send me a private message. Tell me what you think about the live streams, or maybe you have a question. More than happy to reach out or reach out right back to you and help. All right, we're in the new office today. Things are a lot different. Sort of feels like I'm in a foreign country, but we're going to get this place squared away and move forward. But today, pretty good trading day. Not bad, up about 165 to start the trading week, so I'm pleased with how this started. All right, guys, have a fantastic trading day. As always, trade the action well, and we'll talk soon.